Hi friends, and welcome to a new video. My name is Céline, and today I'm so excited to be sharing my mini yarn room makeover. I'm dying. I know you're playing your part, but baby, it's breaking my heart. How could I know if you don't need me? Just let me know when I go. You have gotten some sneak peeks of this new room in my previous video, but this is my official introduction to my new yarn room. I rent this little London flat with my housemate Margot, and my yarn room happens to be our living room as well as my office space. 3 times a week I'm working in this living room, and then I also film my videos mostly in the weekends, so I'm literally here all the time. Now, don't expect me building stuff and going absolutely crazy with this makeover, because I am renting, so I can't make any changes to the actual structure of the house, and I'm not going to live here for the long term. I really didn't want this makeover to be a hustle and huge amounts of work. It's more about layout changes, getting rid of old furniture and substituting it with some pieces that are so pretty, in my opinion, that I could cry. I moved into this flat in 2019, fresh out of university, and it's the first and only ever place I've had in London. In the last 6 years, so much has happened. I've been through so many different things, so many changes took place. I want to highlight the fact that there was nothing wrong with how this room used to be before the makeover. Since I'm now in a very different stage in my life, I thought I could benefit from a bit of an energy shift, an energy renewal. So without further ado, let's get into this makeover and see where I started off at. The way my living room was before felt quite crammed. All of the furniture pieces were slotted into each other or next to each other in a way that didn't allow for much space around them. So as soon as you entered the living room, I had my piano, and slotted right beside it with absolutely no gap in between was my 6-seater dining table. Everything in the room was white, so it felt pretty stark and super sterile and a little bit hospital vibes, especially because the headlights were also super white. But anyway, right beside the dining table was this big cream sofa that was a 3-seater, but it was definitely a very spacious one. It was 2.15 meters long, which means that if you removed some of the cushions, it did turn into a single bed, although it's not marketed as a sofa bed. It also came with its own ottoman footrest storage piece, and that's where I used to store all my yarn. And then quite recently, I made a video where I showed you guys me reorganizing my yarn stash. I had to take it out of that ottoman footrest storage piece because I knew that my new sofa wasn't going to have any storage. So I needed to rehome my yarn, and I ended up placing it in my TV console furniture piece that used to be my most frequent, mostly used background for my videos that you guys might be familiar with. That's actually one of the few furniture pieces that I ended up keeping. Let me show you the yarn, because it is what makes my yarn room a yarn room. After all, this is the famous TV console. It has 8 drawers, all of this size, 5 of which contain my yarn stash. I will link my organization video in the description box because I go in extra detail over there. But essentially, I had these leftover moth bags from a few years ago, so I decided to store all of my yarns in there. It's definitely not my preferred way of storage because it's plastic and also doesn't really make my yarn breathe, and that's pretty stuck in there. But I didn't want the bags to go to waste, and the UK is moth city. Because the yarns are all enclosed in the bags, I just came up with sort of a filing method that would make it simple for me to just reach for what I'm looking for. This bag is labeled project quantities. You wouldn't think so, but it actually works really well. I've had to go into my stash in the last couple weeks looking for a very specific single skein of something, and I found it really fast. So I'm glad to say that method works. And then right beside the TV console, I had this little plant stand. Oh, and in front of the sofa, of course, was the coffee table. Also really important for me to point out the windows. Where is the light source in this room? So I have a really nice balcony on this side, but then the floor to ceiling window also expands right in front of me where the sofa used to be. So basically I used to sit on the sofa, but the light was behind me. For me, that was a pretty poor choice of layout. The fact that I would just sit on my sofa and have my back to the light was not ideal. So that was the main thing that I wanted to change. And the second one was that I wanted everything to feel less crammed, to feel like I had a little bit more space to walk around the different pieces of furniture. And the optional thing for me was also to make more corners of this room filmable, cute to the camera. Now let's see how I was planning to rework the layout of the room. I really wanted my TV console to be placed against the wall that you first see when you walk in. Ultimately, the architects who made this flat intended for a TV to be placed right there because that's where I have all the TV socket thingies.
Precisei sair pra poder voltar, ver o tempo bem fechado, pra ver o dia clarear, pra ver o céu no azul do mar. Precisei perder pra poder ganhar muito tempo bem calado, pra que eu conseguisse falar coisas que alguém vai escutar.
That would make space to put my new sofa where the TV console used to be. And in reality, this whole room makeover is based and centered around the sofa.
I can't let you go, baby. I just wanna tell you that. No, 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 no. Yeah. All of my friends say, girl, you better take care. 'Cause that man is trouble, you best beware. And though deep down, I know I might be headed for teardrops. Now that you got me started, I just can't stop. No, no. 'Cause I love you, baby. I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that I've been looking for love so true. When I was down and out, along came you. Though you might be a liar and a cheat too, I just can't quit.
Let me talk about this dream sofa of mine because she deserves a whole introduction. This is the teddy sofa by a Scandinavian company called Omhu. Just for transparency, this was a partial gift / sponsorship, meaning that I paid for it with my own money, but at a discount. I picked the olive shade, which I think is the perfect shade of green. And if you guys are familiar, in the practice of Feng Shui, green symbolizes so many amazing things. It's associated with growth, balance, calm, healing, compassion, literally everything that I want. It's the best color. Look at her. She's so beautiful. I love the olive tone of this corduroy fabric. It's very soft and cozy and super velvety. It kind of makes me nostalgic. Before my grandparents passed, they used to have this velvet sofa, and I remember being so fascinated as a child. I'd spend hours just drawing on the velvet and then like erasing when I was drawing. It's just, I love a little bit of nostalgia. But now let me show you the real reason why I got this sofa and why it's the most perfect thing for my yarn room. It can turn into a sofa bed. A conversation pit, or my favorite, a knitting pit. It's like my knitting throne. I just want to hide in here and knit forever. The sofa bed and conversation pit formations are really comfortable because the cushion material is very structured, so it holds you up nicely and you don't sink into the ground. I was a little scared to commit purchasing a new one just because I'm renting and I'm gonna be in this flat maybe for another year or two. Of course, a sofa can be super hard to move, but this has no hard structure. So I can literally move it by myself, as in I can move it around the room by myself. I wouldn't move houses and, you know, carry it around the streets. But yeah, it's just a big cushion, really. The only hard structure it has are these metal sofa ends to keep everything together, but they're also just slipped in, so it's very simple to disassemble. A huge requirement for my new sofa was that it had to be washable. And this one's perfect because every single component of the sofa can be unzipped and popped into the washing machine. Omhu also sells the sofa cover in every single color separately. So say in maybe 10 years, I move into a new place and the green doesn't work out, or I just want to change things up, I can just get a new set in a different color and basically I get a new couch because it's just a completely different color. So that's absolutely fabulous. By the way, project update. I started this a couple days ago. In my previous video, which was my fall knit picks, I did mention how in love I was with Kutavakika's coffee run sweater. That's exactly what this is. I'm making it with the Noro Silk Garden Sock Sole in the shade S1 Omitama. I've been looking for this yarn for 2 years. Hello. It was nowhere to be found. It's like the rarest yarn I own. It's basically like an array of iridescent shades. It's not actually iridescent, but the color scheme reminds me of like holographic silver, you know? And I'm holding it with the Isir mohair in the shade 6. I definitely need to pop the stitches onto a longer cable because it's bulging. This cable can't hold all of these stitches anymore. I've just finished the German short rows, heading on to the raglan increases. I'm actually filming a project vlog for this. I want to fall asleep. I'm also a little ill, so this is literally paradise. But I've got quite a few more things to tell you guys, so I shall not sleep. I topped the sofa off with 3 cushions. They have this cushion cover in corduroy that very closely matches the corduroy of the sofa itself. I really like to place it facing this way where there are 4 quadrants and the corduroy is going in different directions. But you can also go a little bit more simple, and at the back it's just straight corduroy. So I got it in this rust shade, a little mustard, and this like fennel seed green. And then on the side here, I just have my blanket and the first knitted blanket that I've ever made. It was my first full knitted project, actually. This sofa is absolutely unreal and is definitely the star of the show of my new yarn room. Now that the protagonist was settled, it was time to work from there, work around it, and introduce the new dining table.
Travel on by locomotive, turning of the century. See their fine clothes, soot is turning, satin's black as the night can be. But there's a new line, the Lackawanna, cold as green as a mountain spring, through the forest and over water, Northern Railway beauty sings. Didn't you know that Miss Phoebe Stone, her dress stays white both day and night upon the road?
There's a little bit of a step around this room. One of the piano legs does come out. So for now, I've got a very hideous little cardboard step that I DIY'd. But my brother, who is a super crafty man, is going to make a little step for me out of wood. So I'll just pop it under there and that'll look much better. Let me tell you, I adore my new dining table. She's so sweet and cute. She's tiny, but actually quite capiente. Is that a word? Capiente in Italian. I think it's a word, whatever. So yeah, I was a bit skeptical when I saw it online. I thought that it would have fit 4 people, but a bit too crammed. But the other day I had dinner with my friends. It was 4 of us on the table and it was so nice and intimate, but like in the best way possible. It was amazing. It gives you what a square table gives you, but it also gives you the aesthetic of a circular table. I adore it so much. It's so cute. I have not yet found a coffee table that I think fits in here perfectly. I want something smaller than what I have now, something that's nice in design, but that also isn't a million great British pounds. So that's still a work in progress. I'm gonna keep my coffee table for now and just be on the lookout. The other thing I'd like to change are the dining chairs. I have this one very specific vintage dining chair that I'd really like. I'm looking to purchase it secondhand, but I've just not found it yet. At this point, there are 2 final touches to make to wrap this whole room in a nice little bow and have it all come together beautifully.
You didn't know back then what you've been knowing now. Before the broken skin and letting your love out, playing the tape again. It's such a sorry sound. Old shaky monologue, just dragging you around, reaching for reset. Reaching for reason to begin. Watching the sunset. Front porch cigarette with my best friend. You didn't know back then what you've been knowing now. Black lines and dominoes, pushing each other down.
I think they look so nice. I love what I selected. Everything is so cohesive. I've got some warm woodsy tones, and then we've got green and red, which is like my preferred accent color in here, especially on the sofa. We love a good red because it's the complementary color to green on the color wheel. Something that I hadn't noticed until I got the prints is that a lot of them have like pinstripe motifs. Clearly, the lady here is wearing a striped outfit, but so is she. Oh, and look at that. She's laying on a striped seat. I did not do that on purpose. You know what I also did not do on purpose? This gal is reading the Daily Good News. There are some gals wearing these funky glasses. And guess who's also wearing the same glasses? Sister over there. And that's how I know it was meant to be. And I love my new little gallery. I reckon my favorite print is probably the cat here, the moody cat. He's so cute and funny because he has a derp face and he kind of is annoyed. The second and final touch to this makeover is adding some cozy, warm lighting. I mentioned in the beginning of this video that the room felt a little sterile because there was a bunch of white, the headlights were white, and I had absolutely zero mood cozy lighting. And that's a pretty big problem because half of the year here in the UK, the sun sets at 4 p.m, if not earlier. So majority of the day, especially after work, it's just living in darkness, and existing with white lights is just not necessarily my vibe, and it makes me a little sad. First and foremost, I changed my headlights to a warmer shade. Next is this floor lamp that shines on top of the dining table. Here is this pretty paper lantern lamp. I love how the paper of this lamp is not white. It almost looks like it was stained with tea. This one is probably one of my favorite lamps lamps is just so beautiful when it's lit up. It is super, super warm. The bamboo shell makes it extra orange. I also have this diffuser, which I light up like this. It doesn't give a lot of brightness, but it adds to the aesthetic. Last but not least, my second favorite lamp, which is this. Right now it's looking a little miserable because it's just hanging on my sofa. It needs a little shelf and it just came in. So let's unbox. Not sure what it's gonna look like. You know, it might work. You're meant to drill holes into the wall, which obviously I'm not going to do. I thought I would just get some extra command strips, which is the exact same thing I used to hang my frames. They are sticky on one side and on the other, they have like a Velcro style thing. They are little teeth that hook onto each other. So if sticky sides facing the wall and whatever you're hanging, the teeth will like sink into each other and they're quite hardy. So if I just attach like a couple, it should be grand. So let's give it a go. Does it look weird that it just kind of hangs from nothing? Let me know in the comments.
Golden, golden things. Golden, I follow only golden. Golden, golden things.
You know how I said I wanted this room to be more filmable and camera ready? Well, let's see how many cute filmable angles we can find. Definitely number one, looks cute from any distance, even up close and personal. Kind of the same angle, but it's more sofa, less prints, but also looks stunning from here and here. A little nod to my old background. If I had recorded myself in this corner, placed the camera there before this whole makeover, this would not have been this cute. It would have not been filmable. Not sure if I've ever filmed this corner of the flat. I feel like this is the first time. She's a new stunning moment. There's also this dining situation, but you get my point. I feel so lucky and grateful that I had the opportunity to change this space to make it feel like my safe place. I was 20 when I moved in. I'm now 26. I was hungry for a change. And I think with this, the mark has been hit. I'm very excited to film more videos in here and diversify the shots, film from different angles, show you new things. And not only that, with my new camera and the new lighting, I will also be able to film in the evenings when it's dark. This will be revolutionary for me. So, would you like to see how this is gonna look like in the evenings? Cute, right? I can't believe I'm saying this, but now I look forward to it turning dark so that I can switch on all my little lights. This is a massive step. I cannot wait to have loads of cozy nights in knitting this autumn and winter. I can't wait to host little knitty clubs with my friends on my new sofa in like the conversation pit formation. That's going to be a dream. This new version of my yarn room is going to keep me going so strong for autumn and winter because I can get pretty sad during this period of the year, and I know that's the case for most people. So I know that my new living room is going to make it so much easier for me. I'd love to know what keeps you guys going in the colder and darker months. Essentially anything that helps with your seasonal depression, other than knitting, of course. I'm looking forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on my new layout. Of course, I always want to know what's currently on your needles while watching this. Mr. Woozy, what shall we ask the knitty friends? He doesn't want to speak. He says he'd love to know what you guys had or are having for dinner. I shall now go on vocal rest because I've been coughing plenty today. So, as always, I thank you so much for sticking till the end of this video. I really appreciate the company. I will leave my Instagram on screen in case you'd like to follow my creations more in real time. I will say bye for now, and I hope to see you in my next video.